When did you notice that you were an overthinker?
Yeah, I would say I have since a very, very young age. When I was tiny, just little things that...
Welcome to Finding My User Manual, the podcast all about learning to be human when no one gave you the instruction manual. My name is Tigz Rice and I am an empowerment photographer based in London, UK. And today I am joined by the wonderful Vikki Wells. Hi.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being on today. I have so many questions for you, but I'm going to start with a confidence boosting introduction because everyone deserves to know how fabulous you are. So Vikki Wells is an independent travel counsellor and the face behind Vacation with Vikki, where she helps busy families and hardworking professionals plan stress-free, memory-making holidays without the overwhelm. Specialising in turning, we should really book that trip into actual plane tickets, Vikki takes the chaos out of travel planning and transforms group chats into beautifully curated and perfectly scheduled realities. Her approach blends practical expertise with genuine care, ensuring every detail is handled so her clients can focus on what really matters, making those memories. As a proud mum herself, Vikki understands the juggle of modern life and the importance of carving out time to reconnect, reset, and explore. Whether it's a once-in-a-lifetime adventure or a much-needed family escape, she's passionate about creating travel experiences that feel effortless from start to finish.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
Every time I hear about these trips that you're booking, they are incredible.
I love doing them because honestly, it's like I go into a dream world, just imagining being there, just like, wow. And that's what I love creating, that wow moment. Just to know that I've created that for someone just makes me so happy.
So my very first question for you, if you came with a user manual, what would it say on page 1?
Ooh, that's a good one. I've been thinking a little bit about it, and I think it would be, just in a sentence, something like, sometimes cares a little too much, but in a valuable way.
Okay, let's delve into that one a little bit. So have you always been an overthinker?
Yeah, I would say I have since a very, very young age. Ever since I was young, there were things I would think about that maybe other people wouldn't think twice about. And I did grow up with it. And I think things happen in your life that make you the way you are. If you knew me 15, 20 years ago, you would see the huge difference. I would say I still am a little bit, but I feel that sometimes overthinking, as I say, can be valuable.
Was there a day or a time or a specific thing that happened and you're like, you know what, I am overthinking this completely. I need to change this. Or has it been something that as you've got older, it's just naturally progressed that?
Yeah. Would you say that overthinking and worry are like the same sort of category? Because
Good question.
I think that there was an incident where I was with a person, I can't remember how old I was, but it's a good 20 years or so ago. And we were driving out of our road and there was a big gang of around 12 teenagers. They wouldn't move out of the road. So the person I was with was beeping and they hit his wind mirror off. And the person I was with, I say, silly move, got out of the car and they got attacked basically. And so obviously I was there and that was a really hard point in my life. It meant that I quit my job. I wouldn't go out of the house. I wouldn't go to local shops because that's where sort of those people hung around. And it really affected my relationships with people. Family that are really, really supportive, of course, but it's hard sometimes for other people to understand. It must be frustrating for them sometimes to see somebody they love go through that and to not be able to make them see, that I don't need to hide away forever, So it's hard because I know that point in my life was also a really hard point in my family's lives because they were seeing me go through that. And I do feel bad for that. But as I say, if you see me from there to now, it's such a big difference that I am proud of.
Yeah.
But I would say that is something in my life that happened that did trigger some fears in me and makes me overthink certain situations now, especially being a mum. For him, you know, I do overthink what the future might look like for him and wanting to keep him safe. So, yeah.
It's hard being mum. I mean, I can only imagine. I don't have little ones, but you know, thank you for sharing that, by the way. And being
Yeah,
so
sorry,
vulnerable.
that's quite a deep story, isn't it?
It's so important to honor yourself and those changes as well, that something did happen that you maybe changed your perspective on how you might approach and walk into the world. And, you know, having little ones that rely on you as well, I can only imagine that it's that feeling of like, how do I keep you safe? How do I make sure that you get to grow up and have all these incredible experiences, but also like knowing full well that at some point they're going to have to make their decisions as well, I suppose. So I can imagine that transition into motherhood maybe has also been like an extra level of this on top for you.
Yeah, because at the minute I can control what's happening with my son and where he is and what he's doing. But I think when he gets older, that'll be hard for me because I won't be in control of who he's mixing with or how safe he's keeping. Because I know that not many people think like me, because I know that in some ways I probably think a lot differently, or some would say, and I used to see it as over the top, but now I see it as, you know what, that's just me. And in some ways, the way I think can be valuable.
Yeah.
And as frustrating as it might be for some people, that is me. And I think I've come to terms with the fact that that is me, and I'm proud of me, and I have good intentions. And the way I am is because I care.
I would love to kind of explore, and you already kind of brought it up, the anxiety, worry, overthinking, caring. What has that change of language done to help you with maybe those thought cycles? Because, I mean, as someone like I'm neurodivergent, I get brain loops. Sometimes if I think about something for quite a long time, I'm like, it will go round. I will play every single iteration version of that in my head. And I've had to work quite hard on closing those loops.
My husband, Connor, as you know, he's completely the other end. So he's very relaxed and, you know, everything's going to be fine. And I think maybe we learn a lot from each other, and maybe that's balanced me out a bit. But I've really learned that if I didn't care about it, I wouldn't overthink it. And actually, I do like that about me, because I think of every little detail and I do everything to the best of my ability. And I've realised that sometimes it's, you know, beyond control. If I'm at a point where I can't change anything, I've really tried to teach myself to, actually, I can't do anything right now, so there's no point overthinking. And unless the situation changes, then maybe I can stop. So I just feel like I've just learned that as I've got older, and I feel like I'm at such a content place in my life now. I do have a lot less worries, and I'm more myself now. And so I'm not overthinking, oh, is so-and-so thinking this? Or, you know, I've just realised that I am me, and I've just learnt to, you know, to love me for being me. So, and the people around me who mean the world to me, they love me for me. So.
Absolutely. What do some of those, I mean, I'm sure I can literally hear people tapping away in the comment section already. Like, but how do we do it? Like, how do we, like you said, if I can't control it, I just try and let that go. Do you say something to yourself? Do you have some kind of like self-soothing routine?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it is hard because it's still in me to do that. But I think I've just learned that, because it's happened so much in my life, I've now realised that 9 times out of 10, in fact, you know, 9.9 times out of 10, I've just overthought it, and it's not been the bad situation that I think. It's normally a lot better than what I think it's going to be.
Exactly. I mean, that must come in so much handy for the work you do as well, because, I mean, you're incredible at planning holiday. Every time I see a holiday that you go on or a trip that you've booked, I'm just out there going, oh my God, this looks incredible. And how does that ability to think beyond the perfect solution, how does that show up for you and the work that you're putting in creating these wonderful experiences for others?
I actually think it's a really valuable thing to have in my business, because I think of every scenario, every situation, every little detail, which I think is so important in a holiday. Nothing normally goes wrong, but if something is going to go wrong, you know, with the hotel or a supplier that I'm working with, I'm easily able to solve that and correct that. And I just think the little details are what make a holiday into, you know, like a real adventure and real memories. So that's what I like to think it's a real good thing to have in a business.
It's definitely, I mean, I know that I've felt the benefit of that existing. In fact, our honeymoon, my husband and I went to Japan in 2019. I barely spoke the language at that point. So we were kind of like, you know, hoping for the best while we were out there. And I remember the person who'd booked our trip ringing me up very, like, probably about 3 or 4 days before we were meant to go to this hotel and saying, so just so you know, they actually double booked. They don't have space for you, but it's fine because we've moved you to another hotel. It's like 2 blocks away. It's actually closer to the station, which is where you said you want to be. We've covered it. Like, it's not a problem. And so there was that ability to be presented with a situation that, I mean, potentially would have been quite problematic at the time.
I would have been quite stressed about it.
I would have been so stressed about it. And then to have someone else go, but it's fine because I've sorted this out before you even know about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's invaluable when you're trying to have a good time, 100%.
Right? It just means I take on the stress so you don't have to have any. You know, not that, you know, it's stress to me, it's my job and I love doing it because I know how you're going to feel at the end of it, because we actually had our honeymoon with a travel counsellor years ago before I became a travel counsellor, and those little touches just meant the absolute world. And I didn't think that a job like that existed where you could do those such lovely things for people. Because with travel you just think, oh, book a holiday, done. But actually it's those little things that really made me want to do this and really makes me love what I do.
I would love to talk to you a little bit about that journey, actually, because how long have you been a travel counsellor now? It's a good few years, right?
Yeah, I think it's almost 5 years.
How was it for you taking a step out of corporate girly life? You had a very, you know, permanent, full-time, secure environment, and you up sticks and you were like, you know what, I'm going to follow my passion. Talk with me about that experience, because I feel like at that point, especially, right, we're talking 5 years ago, to put that into context for anyone listening, that was basically the COVID lockdown era. You literally just threw caution to the wind and went, I'm following my dreams.
Yeah.
How do you make a decision like that?
I mean, I thought about it for months and months before I actually did it. And so I was looking into it thinking, wow, you know, that looks amazing. That's what I love. And just kept putting it on the back burner, kept doing research. And then when we were on our honeymoon, it's mad. I remember it so like it was yesterday. I remember exactly where I was sitting. I was on FaceTime to my mum and we were due to come home in a day or so. And I was just in tears because I didn't want to come home. I didn't want to go back to what I was doing. I didn't feel fulfilled in what I was doing. And I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do forever. So I was in tears. My husband is my inspiration because I saw how happy he was and that he was excited to get back home and he was excited to, jump back into his career, that he was doing so amazing at something he loved and he was happy. And I wanted that. I chose to be happy. And so it's like something clicked in my brain and I was like, I'm doing it. Like it's happening. And then, from there, it was full steam ahead. And I started, and I did it part-time, I was building up. And it wasn't easy and it was scary, but it was the right thing because you're in your job for such a huge portion of your life.
Right, yeah.
And I felt like being happy was just so important to me from for how I was feeling, I chose happiness and jumped right in.
Talk to me about feel the fear and do it anyway. Like, what was that first 6 months like for you?
I think maybe that was something that as well changed the way I look at things now, because I did it, and it was strange because there was excitement and nerves at the same time. But I did it, and it just felt good. And then I realised that, good things were happening. And so that's now made me see that stepping out of my comfort zone is where I'm going to grow as a person and in my business. So I think in my head, obviously I was thinking, you think about money and things like that. But as I say, I was working part-time. So as long as the bills were covered, I was happy to just be tight for a bit and put my all into something that's me and something that I can be proud of. So I don't regret it for a second.
What are the biggest changes, do you think, going from that full-time corporate world to being your own boss? How has that supported you, and how are you able to show up for yourself better?
It's given me more confidence in myself and more motivation to strive for more and believe in myself that I can do it. And yeah, like I say, I'm so proud of it. And as much as I've had little ones since, so it's still growing, it's really nice to see people starting to believe in me and to be able to show my personality in what I'm doing.
What has mum been like for you?
It has been amazing being a new mum and being an overthinker. There's times when I was petrified, because all of a sudden you've got this little one that you just want to protect with, everything you've got. And so I'm not always confident in myself, but I am confident that I'm a good mum. And again, that's because I am confident that I care, and I love him with all my heart. And so I might overthink things, but that's because I want to do the best for him. So it was really scary at first, but I think I'm sort of settling into it now, and I'm getting used to it. And he's at an age now where, he's so funny and he's such a joy. He's like my little best friend. But I am nervous for when he gets older, because I think that's when I will struggle more.
Yeah.
But having this career, I can do it around him. And that's another main reason why I wanted to have my own business, because I can be there for him growing up as well as grow a business. And that's so rewarding for me, because I can be mum and I can also be me.
And that in itself is one of the most valuable things you can have, right? Like one of the words that you keep saying that I want to touch on is the word confidence. And every time you say it, you are smiling at me. Anyone who's watching can see it. Talk to me about that journey for confidence for you, because I feel like it's something you're saying you're growing into that confidence.
Yeah,
and
it's quite new for me, I have to say.
Tell me about that journey.
Growing up, I always felt a little bit different. I remember going out to clubs and getting a drink or whatever in, and I hated that. I didn't want to go to clubs. I don't like drinking, but I used to try and be a certain way because everybody else was. I was trying to be what I believed I should be, because I didn't want to be different.
Yeah.
But I think it comes with age. As you get older, you start to realise, actually, like, I don't care. I am me.
Yeah.
So I think it is age, really, and getting out of my comfort zone, starting my business, and becoming a mum. I think that has given me more confidence, because I think, wow, I've done that. So I think instead of shying away and being nervous to do things, throwing myself in and doing them has given me more confidence. And I'm really happy about that, because confidence has been a big issue. All my school reports would be like, great, but confidence is lacking. So yeah, I just think as I've aged and I've done more, and I've met people who are a really good circle around me, family and my husband and a set couple of friends, I've realised that I don't need to be the same as everybody else. I can be me, and I smile at that because I didn't think that was something that I'd be able to do.
I think, honestly, the transformation, I mean, we've known each other for maybe 3 years at this point. And it's just so lovely watching you blossom and grow on that journey as well. And I think there's a lot to be said for every time we put ourselves out there and we take a little step further out of our comfort zone expands with us, and suddenly we have this next level of things.
Thank you. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not always like that. And as I say, I do still have the little confidence drops.
Yeah.
But that's another thing I've realised, is that I always used to think, oh, I worry too much, and then I think everybody worries, and it's normal also. And especially the things I'm worrying about, having a new baby, those are normal things that everybody worries about. It's not me being a worrier. And I think I tarred myself with that brush. And I've got to stop, and I'm told it quite a lot, stop apologising, stop putting yourself down as much. And I really do think that I have grown in that respect.
What is one thing that you're really grateful that you don't apologise for anymore? Like, what are the sorries that you've left behind?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. I think saying sorry for being me. Like, I'm one of those who, if we leave the house, especially if we go on a holiday, I'm checking every switch, every knob on the oven, and it would be something I'd apologize. I'm sorry, but I just want to actually know I'm not sorry, because that's not an issue to everybody else, but to me, I can switch my brain off. Do you know what I mean? So I would always apologise for being me, for thinking that things I'm doing would bug other people, but actually I'm not sorry because that's
not sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd say for me, actually, on a similar train, I've had to work quite hard on my sorries. And a few years ago, I decided to switch that sorry to thank you so much for your patience.
Yeah.
And reframing it of I'm not sorry I did it, but I'm grateful for the patience you've shown me while, not responding to my emails every 30 minutes. I will check it every couple of days because that is manageable and reliable.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for your patience while I went and ran that errand or something. So many of us are warriors in terms of how does someone feel about the thing that I did, said, didn't do on time. And it's exhausting.
It is. But as I say, I think situations, ex-relationships and things like that, if what people say to you or how they make you feel can really affect who you are, especially if it's when you're young and you're growing up. And that's why it's really great when you finally in a place, like I say, with a great support circle around you, who then sort of pick up the pieces, and then you actually realise that there is nothing wrong with who I am. And actually it's a good thing. And it's like that quote, your power is being you. And that's what I feel, especially with my business, because it's so personal and I get to know people and, really make things personal for people. I think that's a really great power.
With all of this power that you're putting out into the world right now, what's next for you? What's 2026 bringing?
Of course, my baby boy is my priority, and I'm enjoying this age because it goes so quick. So that's amazing. But also I'm at a stage now where I'm settled and comfortable and confident with my little one, because as I say, when he was first born, it was hard, and I'm not one to shy away from saying being a mum, it is hard, but it's the most rewarding job ever. So it's having my son and enjoying him and putting some time and focus into my business to really, really flourish and to be able to share that with more people.
I honestly can't wait to see how this continues to blossom for you over the next couple of months. I just get excited every time I see you going from strength to strength and putting yourself out there, and especially running a business, and it takes a lot of confidence to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
On top of everything else that being you, being mum, Yeah. I just am in admiration every time I see you putting yourself out there.
Thank you.
If anyone's listening who perhaps relates to the overthinking, maybe they are like, I need to step out there and do this for myself. Maybe they are thinking about leaving the corporate rat race behind and stepping out and doing their own thing. Like someone who was you 5 years ago, what would you want them to hear?
I would say, firstly, don't ever apologise for being you and embrace who you are because you're amazing. And secondly, put yourself out of your comfort zone. So even if you're nervous, go for it because that's when you grow as a person.
Amazing advice. Where can people find you online? Where are we going to book our next holidays?
So it's Travel Counsellors Vikki Wells.
Perfect. We'll put it in the show notes. Maybe we'll get some holidays going this year. We need to go somewhere fancy, right?
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I am just thrilled that we got to share your story with everyone out there. And if anyone is listening at home who potentially resonates with this, connected with Vikki's story, please feel free to leave some comments, reach out to either of us directly. Would love it if you followed, subscribed, or shared with anyone who you think might need to hear this. I will be back with another episode next week. But for now, don't forget, you're not broken. You're just finding your user manual.